This is the case of Caster Semenya, celebrated international athlete, and it is specifically the subjugation of Caster Semenya that we are going to talk about in this take today. South Africa's double Olympic 800-meter champion Caster Semenya cannot compete until she accepts to be treated with hormone-suppressing drugs, the Swiss Supreme Court has confirmed. So, Semenya is classified as a woman, was raised as a woman, and races as a woman. The World Athletics body doesn't think so. They treat her as a man. Why? Because of certain masculine attributes that she has. Semenya is classified biologically as a man, and that is where the dispute lies. That is where the crux of the problem lies. While Caster Semenya is an international example, India also has Dutee Chand, who has been fighting against certain odds. I'll come to that later. So it took the court 71 pages to decide that Semenya is not a woman. So what happens? She cannot defend her 800-meter title at the Tokyo Games next year, or even compete from 400 meters to the mile because of this ruling, unless she agrees to lower her testosterone level through medication or surgery. Now, that is quite a difficult hurdle to cross, and World Athletics believes she should take medication to reduce her testosterone levels. Semenya, according to research, was born with the 46XY chromosome rather than the XX chromosome most females have. And she described the experience as like that of being treated as a human guinea pig. And she found that very humiliating, and she also felt that this was very unfair. Those are her views. And she vowed also never to again allow World Athletics to enforce medication upon her. After the ruling, Semenya said, and I quote, "I'm very disappointed by this ruling and refuse to let World Athletics drug me or stop me from being who I am. I will continue to fight for the human rights of female athletes both on the track and off the track until we can all run free the way we were born." But can Caster Semenya be subjugated is the question. She has been fighting back. She's been tweeting quite a bit about it, and she's obviously very annoyed with the whole process. Her lawyers have already said that they will press on, and they hope that there is a silver lining. The World Athletics body further said that the DSD regulations, as recognized by the Swiss court, are not about challenging an individual's gender identity, but rather about protecting fair competition for all female athletes. Please remember that this is the critical word, protecting fair competition for all female athletes. So we are talking about testosterone levels. How does it affect a person? Testosterone increases muscle mass, strength, and hemoglobin, which affects endurance. Some competitors have said women with higher levels of the hormone have an unfair advantage, which is where the crux of the problem lies. "I'm very disappointed by this ruling, but refuse to let World Athletics drug me or stop me from being who I am," Semenya said in her statement. She also went on to make some aggressive statements, and she said, "I will continue to fight for the human rights of female athletes both on the track and off the track, and until we can all run the way we were born." Semenya has already indicated that she would focus on the shorter 200-meter sprint event, which falls outside of the regulations at the Tokyo Olympic Games and which were postponed till next year. So she does have a chance of running in the 200 meters, and her fans would be happy to know about that. Semenya's lawyer Greg Knott says that the international team of lawyers is considering the judgment and the options to challenge the findings in European and domestic courts. So it's all about fighting it in the courts. Dutee Chand, India's celebrated sprinter, had a lot of problems similarly, and in her gender case, she was temporarily suspended by the Court of Arbitration for Sports in Lausanne, Switzerland, due to lack of scientific evidence. And its July 24, 2017 interim report, the court had suspended the International Association of Athletics Federation's fresh appeal on hyperandrogenism regulations until the end of September. So during this period, in simpler terms, Dutee can compete in both national and international levels, and the IAF had also invited the Indian sprinter to compete in the World Championships in London. The more critical point here now is that can Dutee qualify for the 100 meters in the Tokyo Olympics? So far, her timings do not match. She still has to shave off a certain amount to qualify, and it's not going to be easy for Duti, but she's become an icon for such cases of hyperandrogenism. She also looks upon at Caster Semenya as a classic iconic case, and she says that she's a fan of Caster. But going by what is happening to Caster Semenya, Duti Chand will obviously have to double her efforts to get into the Tokyo Olympics if that happens at all. She has won the gold medal in the women's 100-meter sprint at the Summer University Games in Napoli. She is a 100-meter record holder and winner of 2 Asian Games silver medal. Let's listen in to what Duti told us.
2016 में रियल ओलंपिक के टाइम में वार्म अप ग्राउंड में मुलाकात हुई थी हमारा, तो उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि दूती तूने जो हौसला लिया बहुत ग्रेट था, क्योंकि आज तक कोई भी रूल के अगेंस्ट में अपील नहीं किया था, जिस कारण से हमारे जैसे एथलीट को हमेशा रुका जा रहे थे। लेकिन तूने बहुत अच्छा कदम उठाया, जिस कारण से मैं भी आज खेलने को मौका मिला है मुझे। तो उन्होंने रियल ओलंपिक खेला, मेडल भी हासिल किया। तो अभी जब नया रेगुलेशन आया, नया रेगुलेशन हिसाब से 400-800 वालों नहीं खेल पाएंगे, क्योंकि इनका कोई कुछ हार्मोन सपोर्ट दे रहे हैं। जब वो ये रूल आया वो फिर से बैन हो गए। फिर से उन्होंने मुझे मेल डाला था मैंने कि आपके साथ तो मुलाकात हुई थी, सारा बातचीत भी हुई थी, तो मेरा लीगल टीम भी है मेरे साथ में अभी भी, तो आप फिर से चाहते हो केस अपील करने के लिए, आप जो भी मदद चाहेंगे मैं आपको मदद दिला सकेंगे। तो उन्होंने मेल में बोला ठीक है, आपका मैनेजर का नंबर दे दो या तुम्हारा कोई लॉयर वगैरह है तो इनका मेल आईडी दे दो, हम इनके बात करेंगे। तो फिर मेरा जो एडवाइज़र है पायोसन मित्र, तो इनका मेल आईडी नंबर सारे दे दिया, उन्होंने बातचीत किया, फिर से वो केस अपील किया।
There is another case of the 80s which involves Maria Jose Martinez, and who at one point said that she was so upset that the best thing she thought was to die when her life was wrecked by sex tests. Maria, whose dismissal from the Spanish Olympic team in 1986 became a big issue for failing the gender test, is a notable moment in the history of sex verification in sports. Martinez was dismissed after a competition that would have set her up for participation in the 88 Summer Olympics. She was shamed publicly, she was vilified, and when she participated in a hurdles event in the Spanish National Championships in 86, and she came in for a lot of flack, which really upset her. She also said that it was not just about her being stopped, it was about violating her privacy, ridiculing her, vilifying her. So this entire shebang happens when someone who is a noted international athlete is stopped for these reasons. So it's not just a case of the court or an arbitration happening against the athlete, it's about putting an end to what the athlete has fought for. There are a couple of points which I want to make. So the first point is, these cases contest traditional ideas about identity, ability, and competitive fairness in sports. So that is important. Competitors say in case of hyperandrogenism, the person concerned gets an unfair advantage. So that is the flip side. That is the other women who are, say, running against Caster Semenya. Some of them have made the point that this is very unfair. Someone whose testosterone levels are so high that she should rank as a man, and it gives her massive unfair advantage in a race. So the person should not be there. There is a point there. How it needs to be tackled is another matter. Semenya had tweeted a meme reading, "They laugh at me because I'm different. I laugh at them because they are all the same." Last but not the least, the celebrated Lord Sebastian Coe, himself a famous athlete, and he heads the World Athletics body. He said for the last 5 years, World Athletics has fought for and defended equal rights and opportunities for all women and girls in our sport today and in the future. So what Lord Sebastian Coe is basically saying is that neither he nor the World Athletics body is against any individual. They want to ensure that there is a even playing ground for everyone who is contesting at the highest level. That's a fair point. But what happens to Caster Semenya next will more or less lay down the ground rules for the present, for the future, and for anyone else who comes under this category of hyperandrogenism, because at the end of the day, it is not their fault.